You've learned to speak carefully. You've rehearsed your words, chosen your tone, practiced your smile. But here's what no one told you. People already know. Before you open your mouth, before you extend your hand, before you even cross the threshold into the room, they feel you. Not consciously, perhaps, not in words they could explain, but somewhere in the ancient animal part of their brain, they've already received your signal. They've already decided if you're safe or dangerous, authentic or performing, aligned or fractured. Your energy arrived before you did. This isn't mysticism. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the invisible architecture of human connection, operating beneath every conversation you've ever had. You've experienced it yourself, haven't you? That person who says all the right things, but something feels wrong. The stranger whose presence immediately puts you at ease, though you've exchanged no words. The room that shifts when a certain person enters, the air becoming heavier or lighter without a single syllable being spoken. You felt this your entire life. You just didn't have language for it. We live in a world obsessed with surfaces. What you say, what you wear, what you post. But underneath all that performance, underneath the carefully constructed persona, there's something more fundamental broadcasting at all times. Call it energy, call it frequency, call it presence. The name doesn't matter. What matters is this: you cannot hide it, you cannot fake it, and most importantly, you cannot control it through willpower alone. Think about the last time you walked into a gathering while carrying unexpressed anger. Maybe you smiled, maybe you made small talk, maybe you played the part perfectly. But people kept their distance, didn't they? Conversations stayed shallow. Something felt off. You told yourself you were being paranoid, but you weren't. They felt it. That anger, unprocessed and unspoken, was radiating from you like heat from asphalt in summer. Your words said, "I'm fine," but your energy was screaming something else entirely. Or consider the opposite. You've known people who rarely speak but command every room they enter, not through dominance or performance, but through sheer presence. They're not trying to impress anyone. They're not strategizing their next move. They're simply there, fully, completely. And somehow that fullness creates a gravitational field that draws others in. You can't explain it. You just want to be near them. This is the paradox we're living in. We've been taught that communication is about words, about what you say and how you say it. We've been trained to manage our external presentation, to curate our image, to carefully craft our messages. But all of that is secondary. All of that is surface. Underneath, there's a transmission happening that has nothing to do with language. And that transmission is telling the truth about who you are right now, what you're carrying, and whether or not you're at home in yourself. The ancient traditions knew this. They spoke of auras, of chi, of prana. Modern science is beginning to catch up, discovering what mystics have known for millennia. We are electromagnetic beings, generating fields of energy that extend far beyond our skin. Our hearts produce electromagnetic fields that can be measured several feet away from our bodies. Our nervous systems are constantly reading and responding to the nervous systems of those around us in a silent conversation of resonance and dissonance that shapes every interaction. Mirror neurons fire in your brain when you observe someone else's emotional state, causing you to literally feel what they're feeling. This isn't metaphor. This is neurobiology. You are wired to receive the emotional broadcasts of others, and they are wired to receive yours. Every moment, every encounter, every conversation is happening on two levels simultaneously, the spoken and the felt. And the felt always speaks louder. Carl Jung understood this when he wrote about the shadow, the parts of ourselves we refuse to acknowledge, the emotions we suppress, the truths we hide even from ourselves. He knew that these hidden elements don't simply disappear when we refuse to look at them. Instead, they leak out, they contaminate our presence, they create what he called a participation mystique, an unconscious energetic exchange where what you're not saying affects others more powerfully than what you are saying. You've been on the receiving end of this. Someone tells you they're not upset, but their energy is dripping with resentment. Someone claims to be confident, but their presence reeks of insecurity. Someone smiles and makes eye contact, but something behind their eyes is utterly absent. You can't explain it, but you know. Something in you knows. Because energy doesn't lie, it can't. It's the raw, unfiltered transmission of your internal state, broadcasting at all times whether you're aware of it or not. This is why performing exhausts you. This is why pretending drains your battery faster than anything else. You're not just managing words and expressions. You're trying to override your own electromagnetic signature. You're attempting to broadcast one frequency while actually vibrating at another. It's like trying to play a song on the radio while simultaneously jamming the signal. The effort is immense, and it never quite works. People might not be able to articulate what feels wrong, but they feel it. That dissonance between your words and your energy creates a subtle discomfort that keeps them at arm's length. If this message resonates with you, subscribe to the channel and join a community of awakened souls walking the same journey of spiritual alignment. Here's what most people don't understand. You cannot fix your energy through presentation. You cannot clean your frequency by polishing your performance. The only way to change what people feel from you is to change what's actually happening inside you. This isn't about projecting confidence or manufacturing positivity. This is about the much harder, much more rewarding work of internal alignment. This is about making your insides match your outsides, so there's nothing to hide, nothing to perform, nothing to manage. Think of yourself as a tuning fork. When struck, a tuning fork vibrates at a specific frequency. Place another tuning fork nearby, and it will begin to vibrate at that same frequency through resonance. You're doing this constantly with everyone you encounter. Your frequency, your current emotional, mental, and spiritual state is causing resonance in those around you. They begin to match your vibration, often without realizing it. This is why 5 minutes with an anxious person leaves you feeling anxious. This is why time with someone genuinely at peace creates peace in you. The transfer isn't happening through words, it's happening through resonance. But here's where it gets interesting. You can only make others vibrate at frequencies that exist within you. If you're fragmented, carrying unprocessed pain, harboring hidden resentment, or operating from fear, that's the frequency you'll broadcast. No amount of positive affirmations or strategic smiling will override it. But when you do the inner work, when you process what needs to be processed, when you bring consciousness to your shadows and integrate what you've been rejecting, your frequency changes. And when your frequency changes, what people feel from you changes. Automatically, effortlessly, authentically. This is the shift from performance to presence. Performance asks, what do I need to project? Presence asks, what am I actually feeling? Performance is exhausting because it requires constant management. Presence is restful because it requires only honesty. When you show up in presence, when you arrive in a room as exactly who and what you are in that moment, without apology, without exaggeration, without hiding, something extraordinary happens. People relax. Even if you're anxious, even if you're uncertain, even if you're not at your best, if you're being real about it, if your energy matches your reality, people feel safe with you. Because authenticity, even when it's messy, is infinitely more trustworthy than polished performance. Consider the nature of light. A flashlight throws a beam in one direction, forcing illumination, but a candle radiates in all directions, simply by being what it is. The candle isn't trying to light the room, it's just burning true. And that burning, that authentic combustion of its own essence, naturally illuminates everything around it. This is what aligned presence does. It doesn't force, it doesn't perform. It simply radiates what's actually there. And people are drawn to that light, not because you're perfect, but because you're real. The Stoics understood this principle deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the best revenge is to not be like your enemy. He wasn't talking about moral superiority. He was talking about energetic sovereignty. When someone projects chaos at you and you remain in peace, you're not controlling them, you're maintaining your frequency. When someone brings drama and you stay grounded, you're not being passive, you're being powerful. Real power isn't the ability to control others' energy. Real power is the ability to maintain your own, regardless of what's swirling around you. This is where most people get it backwards. They think they need to protect themselves from others' energy, as if they're victims of some invisible assault. But you're not a victim of energy. You're a participant in it. When someone else's anxiety makes you anxious, it's not because they're attacking you. It's because something in you is resonating with that frequency. Something in you recognizes it, matches it, amplifies it. The same is true for peace, for joy, for groundedness. You can only receive what you have capacity for. You can only be affected by frequencies that find a matching tuning fork within you. This realization is both humbling and empowering. Humbling because it means you can't blame others for how their energy affects you. Empowering because it means you have agency over your own resonance. When you clean your internal frequency, when you process your shadows, when you integrate your fragments, you become less susceptible to the chaos around you. Not because you're building walls, but because there's nothing in you for that chaos to hook into. Imagine your energy as water. When water is murky, filled with sediment and debris, it's easily disturbed. The slightest movement clouds it further, but when water is clear, when the sediment has settled, when it's been filtered and purified, it takes much more to disturb it. Even when ripples appear on the surface, the depths remain clear. This is what internal work does. It doesn't make you immune to disturbance, but it makes you fundamentally clear, so disturbances don't contaminate your entire being. And here's the beautiful part. When you become that clear water, when your energy is aligned and authentic, you don't just change what people feel from you, you change what's possible in their presence. Your clarity gives them permission to be clear. Your authenticity invites their authenticity. Your peace creates space for their peace, not through words, not through advice, not through teaching, simply through presence. You become what the mystics call a healing presence, someone whose very being helps others remember their own wholeness. This is radically different from trying to fix or save people. Healing presence doesn't do anything to anyone. It simply holds a frequency that reminds others of what's possible. Like how a candle doesn't try to light other candles, it just burns true, and other candles can light themselves from that flame if they choose. Your work is never to change others. Your work is only to maintain your own flame, to tend your own frequency, to keep your own energy clear and aligned. Everything else happens by resonance, not by force. Think about the people who've most impacted your life. Chances are, it wasn't what they said that changed you. It was how they made you feel. It was the quality of presence they brought. It was the energetic permission they gave you simply by being who they were. That teacher who believed in you without saying much, that friend whose peace was contagious, that stranger whose brief kindness reminded you of your own capacity for kindness. They didn't transfer information, they transferred frequency. And you received it not through your ears, but through your entire being. This is your inheritance as a human being. You're not just a speaking creature, you are a broadcasting creature. Every cell in your body is communicating with every cell around it. Every thought you think generates an electromagnetic impulse. Every emotion you feel changes your heart's rhythm and creates a field that others detect. You are a walking, breathing transmission tower, and you've been broadcasting your entire life. The only question is, what signal are you sending? When you grasp this fully, when you truly understand that your energy is always speaking, several things become obvious. First, you realize that hiding is impossible. What you suppress doesn't disappear, it just broadcasts from a deeper frequency. Second, you realize that manipulation is futile. You can't trick people into feeling something different than what you're actually emanating. Third, and most importantly, you realize that the work is always internal. The only way to change your impact is to change your state. The only way to change your state is to face what you've been avoiding, feel what you've been numbing, and integrate what you've been rejecting. This is the path of energetic integrity, not perfection, integrity. The word comes from integer, meaning whole. Energetic integrity means your thoughts, feelings, words, and actions are aligned. What you feel matches what you say. What you project matches what's actually there. There's no gap between your inner reality and outer presentation, no dissonance between your truth and your performance. This doesn't mean you're always happy or always confident or always at peace. It means that whatever you are, you're that fully, honestly, without apology. And paradoxically, when you stop trying to manage how others perceive you, when you stop attempting to control your energetic broadcast, when you simply allow yourself to be exactly what you are, that's when your presence becomes most magnetic. Because authenticity is rare, because honesty is powerful, because people are so starved for genuine connection that when they encounter someone who's really there, someone who's not performing or hiding or managing, they feel it like water in a desert. Your energy will shift as you continue this work. It has to. As you bring consciousness to your shadows, as you process stored emotions, as you integrate the parts of yourself you've rejected, your frequency naturally rises. Not because you're trying to be positive, but because you're removing the static, you're clearing the interference, you're letting your natural signal come through without distortion. And your natural signal, when it's not contaminated by suppression and performance, is fundamentally good, fundamentally alive, fundamentally attractive to other conscious beings. This is what it means to align, not to perfect yourself, but to become coherent within yourself, to make peace between your warring parts, to stop broadcasting on multiple conflicting frequencies and instead transmit one clear signal. This is who I am right now. This is what I'm carrying. This is what I'm feeling. No agenda, no manipulation, no performance, just presence, just truth. Just the raw, honest transmission of your current state. People will feel this shift before you say a word. Conversations will change. Relationships will reconfigure. Some people will be drawn closer because your authenticity gives them permission to be authentic. Others will drift away because your clarity illuminates their own fragmentation and they're not ready to face it. Both movements are perfect. Both are necessary. Your job is not to hold on to anyone or push anyone away. Your job is simply to maintain your frequency, to stay true to your signal, to keep broadcasting from your center rather than from your wounds or your masks. This is how you change the energy of every room you enter. Not by being the loudest, not by being the most impressive, not by being the most spiritual or evolved or enlightened, simply by being coherent, simply by being aligned, simply by allowing what's inside to match what's outside, so there's no static, no interference, no dissonance. People might not be able to explain it, but they'll feel it. They'll know that something about you is different. They'll sense that you're safe, that you're real, that you're here. And in a world of performance and pretense, of filtered images and strategic presentations, of people broadcasting one thing while actually being another, your authentic presence becomes a sanctuary. Not because you're perfect, but because you're honest. Not because you've transcended struggle, but because you're not hiding it. Not because you've arrived at some final destination, but because you're really, actually, genuinely on the journey. If this resonated with you, if something in these words rang true, don't just passively consume it. Let it activate something within you. Subscribe not because algorithms demand it, but because you're choosing to surround yourself with frequencies that support your awakening. Like and share, not to perform engagement, but because you recognize that these truths need to reach others who are ready for them. Your energy is already drawing those people to you. Your frequency is already attracting your tribe. Let your actions align with that truth. People can feel your energy before you speak. They always could. They always will. The question is no longer whether they feel it. The question is what they'll feel. What signal are you broadcasting today? What frequency are you maintaining when no one's watching? What energy are you cultivating in the silent spaces of your own awareness? This is the work. Not to project something you're not, but to become so fully what you are that there's nothing left to project. Just presence. Just truth. Just the honest, unfiltered transmission of a human being learning to be home in themselves. That's the signal the world needs. That's the frequency that heals. That's the energy that changes everything without saying a word. To celebrate your arrival, we've prepared a gift, a guide to help you navigate your inner transitions with clarity and elegance. Alignment. 7 phases of consciousness awakening. Download your copy from the link in the description.